Hi, you're listening to We Watch Movies.
I'm Ava.
And I'm Jenna.
And we watch movies. So this week we watched Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight, which is a Polish film that aired on Netflix today. We're so prompt with this video.
We're on.
So it's originally in Polish, so there are some audio dubs and subtitles and everything. But I think it was pretty smooth in terms of listening-wise, except for some jankiness that we'll get into later. But so Jenna, from what I understand of your initial responses, you really disliked this movie.
I really disliked this movie, Ava. I did not have a good time.
Care to elaborate?
Well, horror isn't really a genre I watch that much anyway, so it could just be that just the whole vibe of it wasn't my deal, but I was also just really uncomfortable the whole time, and not in, like, a good way. Like, nothing happened made me super entertained, and just the whole time I was watching it, I didn't like anything that happened, and just this movie felt like very, like, purposely disgusting, but, like, not in a way that, like, helped the movie. Like, it didn't give it a vibe that I was like, ooh, I hate looking at this, but I'm gonna keep watching it. It was just, I just wanted to turn it off all the time. But, you know, I'm, like, legally contracted, I'm pretty sure, to watch these movies in the full extent. So I had to keep going. And I didn't like anything about it. I wanted to just, like, give up.
Well, this is going to be an interesting conversation then, because I didn't detest the movie. I thought it was very much like a hybrid between Scream and Friday the 13th. I mean, Friday the 13th, obviously, because it was like a camp and everything. And then Scream, because Scream is very self-aware, and it's like it brings up the rules of horror movies, and like you can't have sex, you can't go off on your own and everything, and it's sort of like in that self-awareness it kind of gave me those vibes. Like, I don't know how serious this movie was taking itself, but it didn't feel like it was trying to be an uber super like creative and unique thing. I thought it was trying to almost be a spoof a little bit. And then the villains just looked like Harold the Scarecrow from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And that amused me. But I don't know, there's some parts I thought were funny. There were, like, just the ways that, you know, when a horror movie brings up the rules of horror, that movie is going to follow said rules, and it was kind of the same thing with, like, Scream. Like, they did this sort of same idea. The Scream is definitely better in terms of a movie. But I don't know, I thought this movie definitely wasn't trying to take itself super seriously, and if it was, I'm probably, like, way off base here. But yeah, I think because it's Polish, and it's I don't know what it being Polish includes, like, or adds to my argument in any way. But I think that it had a set of characters that worked. It had a concept that I liked, except for the whole, like, alien rock thing. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. That, and, like, I'm gonna just rant about this, but the worst thing about, well, maybe not the worst thing, but one of the more, like, obvious things was I feel like the pacing in this movie was not very good.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because, like, the build-up to the main events is both really fast and way too short, and I feel like they tried to put all of their character development in, like, the constant rising action, which didn't really help, because as soon as one thing would happen, someone would die, and it was very easy for me to just start not caring. But but then all of a sudden, like, the whole alien rock subplot got introduced, and it took whatever tension out of the film immediately, and it just, I felt like the end of the movie where she's just driving the car back and forth over that one guy, and, like, I couldn't get into it.
I loved the car part.
No, the car part was good. I'm not critiquing the car part, but...
I mean, this movie, I think that you can't take it seriously because of all the random stuff that was in it. Because, like, they had the whole guy in his cabin with the gun, and he's like, I've faced them before. That reminded me a lot of, Jaws. That one guy who was like, I've seen this shark before. And I think it took his leg, too. So I think that was a spoof off of that, kind of. And then, obviously, like, you know, the people who had sex died, and then, and, you know, they followed the rules, and the woman who was like, let's go inside, and she was, like, getting confident, she's like, oh, I'm gonna defeat this guy, and then they just throw her head out the window. I think, because, okay, you can't really have a serious movie and then, like, throw a random prostitute and then random Nazis and then, like, expect...
Yeah, this movie got wild at the end.
I remember my initial reactions, and I was just texting you the whole time, just random stuff, because I didn't want to spoil it, but I wanted you to get amused, and I wanted you to be, like, intrigued by this movie.
You see, your texts were better than the movie for me. Like, I could have just read those texts in the 5 minutes and gotten so much more out of that than watching this movie.
I think, okay, so the characters themselves, I think they were good. They did their purpose. I didn't really dislike any of the ones that you weren't supposed to dislike. You know? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think they were, intolerable. I thought the priest was intolerable, and I think his whole turn for darkness was kind of unnecessary, especially because in, like, every movie or horror thing, when they use a wood chipper to kill somebody, it's like this big spray of blood and everything, and this was just kind of like a little trickle. You know,
it was just strawberry jam.
If you're gonna make somebody that despicable and then murder them with a wood chipper, there's gotta be, like, a big, like, poof, you know?
And, like, there was really no point to that. Like, okay, that whole character storyline, not the priest, but the other one, I don't know any of these people's names, so you just gotta put up with me here.
Okay.
Like, that went nowhere. It didn't add anything to the movie because he just dies at the hands of the other useless character in this movie. And, like, I don't get it. Was I supposed to feel anything?
Yeah, see what I thought happened there. I thought that, so that guy was named Bartek, the guy who was killed with the gun. I thought that was gonna be, Zosha, the main girl, because because she had just run away, and I was like, oh, maybe she got to his house again. Maybe she went back to his house, and she's looking for help, and then he just shot somebody, and I was like, it's definitely not the bad guy. And I thought that was how the movie was gonna end, and I was gonna be like, oh. Like, this definitely wasn't supposed to be a serious movie. But then it was Bartek, and I was like, how did he even survive that? Like, it would have been better just to have him dead. And I mean, I don't mean to be like, oh, kill Bartek, because I liked Bartek, but, like, yeah.
Like, he didn't really add anything. And especially in the way he died, it didn't add anything to the movie. Mm-hmm. Because then we never see that old dude again, and it's like, okay, thanks.
I think, the guy that was Zosha's friend, I think his name was Yukel, right?
Yeah.
So Yukel, I liked him, but, no, I liked him, yes. he's very reminiscent of, if I'm gonna talk about Scream again, there's this one character in Scream, I don't remember his name off the top of my head though, but he's all like, he's the one who's like, there are rules to this horror movie thing, and then he was, so Yuko was kind of a direct parallel to that kind of thing, but they didn't need to rip out his tongue.
Oh my god!
That was a little much.
The way it was done! No, I didn't. Yeah, that's another reason why I don't watch horror. Doesn't do anything for me.
I felt really bad for him in his like last moments though, when he was like, kill me and stuff. That was really sad. I felt for the characters in that moment.
Yeah.
But I feel like she could have killed him in a more actually no. I think her way was the most.
Yeah, that's how the Romans did it.
But another thing about Zosha is so Miss Isa has this list of why they're all at their technology addiction camp, right? And she looks at Zosha and she's like, okay, time to share. And she looks at her list and she's like, oh wait, no. And I get that her parents and her family died in a car crash when they were taking a selfie. But I don't know how that reflects on her technology addiction. So they didn't really explain, like, was she addicted to technology after that or something? Or was she just traumatized by technology?
Or like, maybe she was traumatized by technology, so they took her to a camp where she wouldn't have to see it.
Maybe. I'm not gonna bring up the actual cast members because I cannot pronounce any of their names. But I think they did a pretty good job with, like, you know, their characters and everything. I think it was a pretty good cast. Then again, I can't really tell how their delivery was of their lines and everything because it was dubbed. I don't know who the American dubs were. But like the dubs were a whole nother level of like funky. Because I'm pretty sure it would have been a lot less awkward in Polish if I could speak Polish. Because the first part I noticed it was they were turning in their phones and the camp counselors were like, oh, like the sausage that I hate.
Yeah, no, the dub could have been better. When I heard that you had watched the dub, I watched the dub just so we would be talking about the same thing. But I generally always watch Netflix with subtitles because that's what I do, because I generally end up missing something when I'm just listening. But I literally had to turn the subtitles off because the dub and the subtitles were so mismatched.
Oh yeah, they didn't line up at all.
Like, I'd be reading it and hearing a different thing, and I was just getting confused.
Yeah, I always have subtitles on, and they definitely didn't match. And there were like some parts where like the dub censored what the subtitles were saying, or some parts where the dub just went like way further than the subtitles did. But my main I guess gripe with the dubs were the fact we didn't need American kissing noises. We didn't need American grunting. Those noises are pretty universal. They transcend language. If you hear a person scream or grunt or smooch, you can pretty much identify those regardless of what language that person is speaking. And so I don't know if they had to replace all of the audio for the dub or if they have a different way of doing that, because I don't know if they needed like American Foley artists and stuff to completely replace the audio. Because I don't know how dubbing works. It might be that they have to replace all of the audio because they can't like isolate the actors, but I feel like they probably just did the voices, in which case they probably didn't need to dub the grunting and the smooching.
Yeah, and yeah, when the part that you're talking about came up, like I actually like full body cringe. Because you had mentioned it to me, and I was like, okay, whatever. So I had forgotten by the time I was watching it, but when it happened, I was like, ugh! Like, we didn't need it.
Yeah.
The soundtrack was pretty good.
The soundtrack was fire. I was obsessed with the music. I thought it was great, and I thought it really fit the show, and I thought it was, like, really perfect.
Yeah, that and the scenery of where this movie took place really did it for me. I wish everything else around this movie did it for me like the soundtrack did. But the soundtrack fit so well, and at the end when she's like driving the car in the car scene, because the car scene is great, then the music started playing and I was just there for it. The music is not really like traditional horror movie, and I'm not sure if that's because it's more of a foreign film or if that's just a creative choice, but I thought it worked really well and I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that lake is incredible. And I want to go. Like, the fact that they had, like, a sandy beach in the middle of the woods was so cool.
Yeah, like, field trip?
Absolutely. Okay, so the villain's backstory, so that's how they introduced the whole nobody sleeps in the woods thing. I thought that was pretty spooky. I think that was successful, but the whole random thing explodes in the sky. I thought that at first I thought it was a spaceship, and I was like, wait, why is there a spaceship in this, just like there? And then it like started oozing. At first I thought it was an egg, but it was like a parasite, and I couldn't tell if it was supposed to be some sort of connection to the witch in the story, because they were talking about the story and they were talking about the witch, and I was like, maybe this is witchcraft, but it also was like an alien. Like, it felt like, you know, Venom?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you've seen that movie, how it's like a weird like glob that like possesses you, maybe this is the origin of Venom, and he just, instead of like being a symbiotic relationship with its host, it just gave him really bad acne.
Puberty hit those kids hard, Ava. Like, man, I feel bad for them.
Okay. Is it bad that when Yuko stabbed the bad guy, I was like, he should have put the knife in the pimple. I was like,
no, that's not bad. Like, it kind of looked like ivory, like rhinoceros horns. It didn't even look like pimples.
I wanted to see them pop the whole time so badly. And I know that's gross, but I couldn't, like, resist the thought. Like, maybe that's their weakness. Maybe if you pop their pimples, they die.
Yeah, because the pimples probably have all that, like, gooey stuff from, like, the alien egg rock thing. So if you pop the pimples, all of that stuff escapes, and they turn into regular children again.
I don't think they were children anymore, Jenna.
Listen, I don't know, this movie didn't explain to me exactly how it worked, so I'm allowed to make guesses that aren't correct.
Also, okay, when Zosha, like, killed, or quote-unquote killed that one guy, I was like, at first I saw her raising up her giant sword, and I was like so excited. I was like, oh my god, she's gonna go full Queen of Hearts on this dude and cut off his head. Like, smart move, great. Cutting off the head of things generally works. Like, I don't care what kind of monster it is, if their head is not on their body, they genuinely can't function. So, like, you cut the head off and you take it away and you bury it, or you put it in a wood chipper or something. But no, she just stabbed him a bunch of times. Like, is she dumb?
Tisk.
I thought she was supposed to be the smart one, but no.
And then she just leaves the sword knife thing.
Yeah, she
didn't even bring it with her.
Take the big thing. She should have kept
Listen.
it.
Listen, if the sequel is not her, a couple of years later, with her own monster killing agency where she has a big freaking sword and it's really cool, and like she always like is in the woods fighting and hunting monsters, then I don't want a sequel. End of story.
I want the sequel to be about that one guy trying to get rid of Bartek's body. He's just like, well, I just shot this kid, and they're not gonna resolve it in this movie, so maybe I should just have my own wacky antics trying to bury this dude.
That's the other plot line going on.
Cause they just like shot him, and then the movie just like forgot about him, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Bartek, you deserved better. Like, nothing works out for this kid the whole time. He falls, and then his leg gets hurt, and then he's just having his heart-to-heart moment, and then he looks over, and she just has a pole sticking out of her throat, and then...
I literally blinked it. I was like, oh, that girl dead now.
Like, they're like, oh, let's develop her a little bit. Nope, psych.
I was so confused. Like, I looked away for a moment. I was like, okay, they're having a heart-to-heart. And I looked back, and her body's just being thrown like a rag doll off of where she's sitting. And I was like, what did I miss?
And then this poor kid, he runs away successfully, and he goes to this church where this priest is like kind of rapey and puts a freaking ball gag in his mouth. And I think he did that because he's gay. Is that what he was talking about? He was like, I know you're kind.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So he was like being super homophobic, which like I get it, he's a priest, but like not all priests are homophobic. And
no, man.
so he clubs this poor kid, stuffs a ball gag in his mouth, and ties him up. And then the priest gets killed, which is great. But then this kid is hiding in the confessional, and he gets caught, and somehow survives. But they don't want to tell us about his super amazing escape maneuver, which I would have liked to see. And then he goes to get help from the one guy, and then this guy just shoots him.
Yeah, like, I was invested in his storyline, but the movie was actively making me not invested in it. And I was so mad, like, why I want to know what happens to this character that I don't want to see die.
Yeah, like, okay, this guy sitting in his weird little cabin, he has his gun. Could you not wait a second until the door was fully open to see that it's not the kids that you sent away earlier in the day? Or he didn't even send them away. They just like went away. And then maybe if they, like, maybe it might be a logical leap to make in your brain. Like, oh, maybe they did not succeed in escaping, and maybe they've come back for help. Like, so maybe they were...
But they also literally said that they had friends out there with them.
Yeah, literally. Like, I don't understand why he couldn't have just waited a second to shoot the bad guy. Like, oh no, the bad guy's gonna be like one step closer to you. Like, who cares? You have a gun. If you think the gun's gonna work, then it's gonna work. But also, I feel like Bartek should have been like, hello? Or something, at least, because, you know, he knocked on the door, which I don't think the bad guy would knock on the door, first of all. But then, he knocked on the door politely, but he didn't, like, and he didn't say, hello, I need help, or something. Which might have clued that guy into thinking, oh, this isn't those mute monsters that wander the woods.
Yeah, I don't know. Bartek deserved better.
Hashtag justice for Bartek. And then
the sequel should have the old guy trying to get rid of his body, but then the witch shows up and she resurrects him.
Yes! Oh my god, wait, what if Bartek's a witch?
Oh my gosh! Like, take notes! People writing the sequel take notes.
Polish people who wrote this story, who may or may not speak English, and probably will never see this. This is directly a message to you. Because this is the best way to get a message to you.
Do you want us to fax it to you? We can do that.
Oh my god, wait. The sleeping bag? Why didn't he scream?
I did not like him. So honestly, him being the first to go, I was
But he
fine
didn't
with.
scream. He was so dumb. You have to scream. If you're given the opportunity to scream, then scream. You can't just like be like, no, don't take me away from my beach and my sleeping bag. If some random person walks up and scoops you up into a sleeping bag and starts dragging you somewhere, if that were me, I would be screaming my head off. I'm sorry, but that's just how it would work.
Yeah, and I also don't understand how his phone ended up back in like his pocket.
Maybe he put it back in his pocket. Well, he wasn't screaming.
While he was being smashed up against a tree in a sleeping bag.
So he was smashed against the tree enough for his blood to go through the sleeping bag and get on the tree, but not enough to smash his phone. Enough to drain its battery, though.
Those must have been precision hits or something.
Yeah, you know, everybody's thinking about these monsters as like stupid, pimply buttholes. But in reality, they're geniuses, and their only flaw is their cannibalism.
Or maybe they just have the whole right idea. I mean, if they're this smart, maybe they're onto something. Like, I mean, that rock came from another planet, so it looks like there might be like extraterrestrial intelligent life out there. Maybe they're trying to take over because they know better.
You see, this is what happens when all of you clear-skinned kids make fun of kids with acne in high school. This is the product of childhood bullying, okay? This is the deeper message of nobody sleeps in the woods tonight.
And like cyberbullying too?
Yes. All of the bullying. Every kind of bullying. He was just like, those kids were just so triggered by the fact that when they were kids, they were bullied for their acne, that they absorbed a demon from space and got more acne, and then they took it out on the people who have no acne.
Exactly. Maybe all of those kids were sent to that camp that didn't look very fun and looked actually pretty sketchy. Maybe they were all sent there by a child acne support group.
Yeah, this had nothing to do with their technology addiction at all. It's a little known fact that this was actually an acne rehabilitation camp.
It's all an allegory.
Totally. Okay, but I mean, let's not. Okay, can we blame them? On Yellow was literally so gorgeous.
Who? I don't know any of these people's names. I had to turn off subtitles, Ava.
Aniela is the blonde one.
Oh, yeah, no, she was pretty pretty.
Pretty.
Listen, I don't know how to talk.
Okay. But I'm also wondering, how many condoms did she bring into the woods? Because she smuggled that one in, and then they're like, oh my god, and then they're like, oh my god, let's do some stuff out here on this beach in the woods. And then he's like, can we do this tomorrow? And she's like, sure. So like, I don't know, she seemed, you know, it's great, she's prepared and everything, but like, how many did you smuggle into your weird little camp? Also, how far away was the lake from their base camp? Because in some scenes, I felt like you could see it in the background of their tents, but in other scenes, it was like a long walk. Because they were at the beach thing, and then they were like, oh, we need to make it back to our camp. But
unless like the camp was on a different side.
Maybe. But then I don't know why he would be sitting on the other side to like clear his head or whatever. And then also
Maybe
it
that
would
was
kind
the
of be
best
like
beach? I don't know.
be like they're having sex in full view of the people in the camp.
Oh yeah, you're right. Never mind.
Miss Issa, What kind of animal is that? Over there across the way.
I think Miss Issa's response to that would be, I don't get paid enough to deal with this. Poor Miss Issa.
Okay, that whole, like, fake out thing with the fox, though.
That was pretty dumb.
Like, okay, honestly, if you were Miss Issa, and you're, like, this wilderness person, and you know the woods like the back of your hand, okay, and you hear rustling, honestly, my first thing would be like, yeah, raccoon, whatever. Be like, you kids are such babies, chill out, it's a raccoon. Or it's a fox.
Yeah, no, like, when you're in the woods, you're gonna hear some weird things, but, like, y'all are fine. And also that one girl said she could hear ticks, and I was like,
Like, if it was
no.
If it was the big predator that destroyed that deer, then you probably would have been able to see it more than just hear it rustling in the bushes.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, but that the scene where Yuko goes to pee and then he finds the deer and then he starts peeing on the deer because he can't stop, and then they go to investigate the deer and then Bartek is squatting in his pee. I couldn't contain myself.
Yeah, no, that was an interesting part of the movie for me as well. Because I had brought my computer downstairs to eat lunch while I was watching it. And that part came on and I'm just eating lunch and I'm like, this is fine. This is 100% fine.
I was eating breakfast when I saw that part. Okay, but Yuko, I want to subscribe to your YouTube channel. I know you're dead right now, but I want to subscribe to your YouTube channel because wait, he had like 800 something thousand.
Yeah, he had like 900,000.
Okay, actually, you know what? Everybody who is subscribed to Yuko's channel, subscribe to our channel because we want subscribers. We want some subscribers.
Just a little. Hey, can we have Christmas 2 months early? Like most real retailers do that. Why can't we?
Oh my god. Speaking of Christmas 2 months early, so when I was originally looking for movies to watch for this episode, the other movie that came out on Netflix today was Holiday about Christmas. It's not even Halloween yet!
Ah!
Just chill, okay? Capitalize on Halloween while you can, please? Like, okay, right now we all know it's not a good time to be, like, doing anything. So why not just postpone your Christmas movie filming? Because theoretically they would have had to either they started this movie a while ago and they had to postpone the airing, which means they were trying to release a Christmas movie. Either it was postponed all the way since Christmas last year, or they were trying to make a Christmas movie for springtime, or they were filming like in the middle of quarantine, which is kind of weird.
Or they could just know that they're making a Christmas movie and they film it whenever, but know they're just going to release it.
Yeah, but like, then if you just were gonna release it, why wouldn't you want to release it like around the holidays? Like the holidays that you're aiming towards.
I don't know, marketing is weird, Ava.
The only remotely Christmas movies that I'll accept in October are Gremlins and Nightmare Before Christmas. That's it.
Yeah, you gotta be on brand.
You can't, like, Gremlins, it takes place in Christmas. That doesn't matter. It's very spooky. And then Nightmare Before Christmas, that's like, that could go either way. You can watch that on Christmas Eve and you can watch that on Halloween. Both work. Both are completely acceptable viewing times for both of those movies. Both Nightmare Before Christmas and Gremlins. So, both of them are really great movies, by the way, that you should watch on Halloween and Christmas Eve, because they're both really great, and you should watch them.
You know what, Ava? I think this is the year that I'm going to finally watch Nightmare Before Christmas.
You
I can get it from the library.
Nightmare Before Christmas?
You know what, Ava? You can fire me for our own podcast. I haven't seen it, but this is the year because Halloween is on a Saturday. I can't do anything this year, and I know the library has it because I checked it out 3 times before, and I haven't watched it.
You've checked it out, and you've had it in your possession, and you haven't watched it?
Yeah, and I've had season 4 of Downton Abbey for 4 weeks, and I haven't watched the whole thing yet either, Ava.
Homework, Jenna. Homework. Anyways.
Anyway.
But speaking of Halloween, first of all, we're gonna start posting like regular videos, and my Halloween special video comes out on Halloween, which like y'all should watch. But Halloween is like everything's canceled now because all the cases are like climbing and everything, and it's not safe, so there's literally nothing that we can do on Halloween. And there shouldn't be anything that you can do on Halloween. Ergo, you should watch our channel more. And we have an episode about Hubie Halloween. That one's a fun episode. That's about a Halloween movie. If you want to go check that one out, that's a good idea. What are some other safe Halloween ideas?
And in all seriousness, please just don't do anything stupid on Halloween. I know, it's Halloween. Halloween is fun. But for everyone's safety, including yours, please don't go to any parties. Don't do anything stupid. Be safe. Do what you're supposed to. Sorry to be such a downer on a YouTube podcast that talks about movies, but just for everyone's sake, stay home and watch movies like the rest of us.
Can we bring back the creepy clowns of 2016?
I forgot about that phase.
I think, okay, that phase had me scared to stand at the bus stop at, like, 6 a.m. Okay? I think, well, not 6 a.m., but, like, it was close, and it was dark because it was around Halloween. And so I think we should bring that back because that would have people scared to leave their houses, and I think that would solve our issue.
Yeah, I remember I was running cross country and some random person on the road yelled at me that there was a clown behind me, and I was like, is this what society has come to? But honestly, if everyone's convinced they're killer clowns again, no one will go outside. Like, internet, you're slacking here.
Yeah, honestly, was that ever confirmed as, I think somebody said that, or I don't know where I heard this, and I don't know if it was ever confirmed, but somebody told me that it was a marketing scheme for the It remake that took on a whole life of its own.
I would believe that, but I don't know if that's true.
I don't know if that's true. I need to look that up, because I always mean to look that up, and then I never do. But I heard that it was, that the marketing team for it, like, had people as clowns, like, dress up as clowns and be on the highways and stuff. Well, not highways, but, like, on the roads and stuff and be spooky. And then other people started following the trend, and then some people, like, were, like, actually, like, violent and not good law-abiding citizens.
Come on, we know you're clowns, but don't be a clown.
I think, we should start that trend, but with the pimple boys from this movie.
But instead of, like, the pimple boys from this movie, it's just guys with pimples.
Oh my god.
Not saying y'all are scary, you're not, but
No, you're
we
terrifying.
don't have that big of a budget around
You're
these parts.
terrifying. You make me throw up in my mouth every day. 100%. I despise pimple people. This is a whole other kind of discrimination. No pimple people.
Pimpleism.
No pimple people allowed.
Are we pimple phobic?
I don't know. I have enough pimples for the both of us, so it's fine. Okay, so one thing I did notice though, because nowadays when people are making horror movies, it's always so like they're always like, oh, the landline is down, but then we're like, okay, it's 2020. Which teenage girls are using a freaking landline? And then so I think it was pretty smart that they made it a tech-free camp that they were at. But the guy in the woods just not having a phone is kind of shimmer, Like, I'm kind of like, I know you're a boomer, but still.
Yeah, like, it is 2020, and I feel like there are initiatives now to get people access to phones. I feel like it would have been more believable if he said, I have a phone, but it's off the grid or whatever. Phone speak. I feel like that would have made more sense.
Or, like, if he said, my phone is dead, because I was, playing too much Among Us. Like, I'm sorry, there's not much I can do in the woods, so I have this little squad of mine, and we play Among Us, like, all day, and my phone died, and my power is out because of the storm that happened once upon a time that the priest was talking about, and ergo, I can't charge my phone, and so you either need to live with me for a couple of days while I wait for my power to come back on, or you can go, like, out and risk your life. Which even then, like, just stay. I think it was stupid that they left.
Yeah, it's not like they had some, like, big connection with the other people.
Okay, wait, but wouldn't that guy have a car, though? How does he get groceries?
He lives off the land.
He
beats small rodents and wildlife with his metal feet.
Okay, let's say he's a hunter, and let's say he has a garden. That gives him plants and meat, which I guess is a fairly balanced diet, but he has, like, no access to, like, dairy products, or, like, he doesn't seem to have, like, a wheat farm or anything, so he doesn't have, like, grains. And, like, what about in the winter time, my dude? Like, I find it very difficult to believe that this guy was not getting groceries. How does he get his alcohol?
No idea. Maybe he's friends with the witch, and the witch brings him.
We need the witch in the next movie. Yes, so makers of Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight, we require that if you ever make a sequel of this movie, which it seems like you were setting up for at the end, we need the witch. Like, you can't just tease us with a witch and a creepy song and name the movie after said creepy song, and then not give us a witch. And give us an alien instead. It's kinda dumb. We don't like it.
Like, it made zero sense, and, like, it happened in the middle of the day. Like, at least do that stuff at night. Atmosphere.
Yeah. I think. Can the next explosion be like a confetti bomb, and then the confetti is the symbiote that takes over the people and makes them into pimply cannibals? Also, wait, he said that the mom was able to chain them up and feed them for years, which I get that at the opening when the police officer was, like, sucked into the building, that, like, that's probably how they got out or something, and that's after their mom died or whatever. But how did the mom restrain them?
Well, I mean, if she was feeding them and they were still smaller children, she could have maybe, like, drugged something she gave them. Or if they were sleeping.
Maybe.
Because they did sleep.
I guess, yeah. Another note about this movie, if any more horror movies introduce a dog just for the sake of killing it, I'm gonna protest.
Yeah, that was not good.
Like, that happens in a bunch of movies. That happened, I think, in the Babadook. Or Babadook, or I think it's Babadook. Babadook, yes, I think. They had this dog, and like the entire purpose of the dog in the plot was just to kill it off. And I was kind of like, you know, like it was kind of, I remember watching that for the first time with my friends, and like all of us were silent, and we were like crying when they were killing the dog, and then they tried to like, they tried to like do bad things to the child, and we were all like, we were watching intently, like no emotion. And I thought it was really funny because it's like, just the fact that we're so attached to dogs in movies, and it's just great. It's amazing. It's an amazing picture.
Well, it's because the dogs didn't choose this.
I don't think the child in that movie chose this either, but here we are.
Well, the children brought back the egg thing.
Yeah, these children were pretty stupid. Like, okay, when something explodes in the sky, if that happened, in my opinion, I would be like, oh, nuclear, and then I'd go the other way. Because I don't want fallout or something, that's what I thought it was in the first place. I didn't realize that they took the egg thing. I thought they were just gonna succumb to, like, nuclear radiation and become, like, zombies. But it...
Like, that would have made more sense if they had done their transformation there, and then showed up back at the house like, hey, Mom, look, we're home.
I thought it was gonna be more of like they were exposed to nuclear radiation, then all of a sudden they start getting acne. And then all of a sudden their acne turns into like these big boils, and then they have a taste for human flesh. That's what I thought was gonna happen, and then I was sorely mistaken, because it's actually like an alien goop that possessed them.
Yeah, and I still don't really get what exactly this movie was trying to say about technology, other than technology bad, I guess.
I think that was just an excuse for them not to have phones. Because if you're in the woods and you have a phone, that's a lot safer. Like, there's no movie then. But also, I think it's really unrealistic that they would send a bunch of kids into the woods with their counselor or their guide not having a phone. Because I get that it's a no-tech thing, but they'd at least give them, like, a satellite phone or something.
Or a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, they wouldn't let a group of kids go into the woods alone with one guide, and the guide not have a way of contacting the base camp. Like, I really don't believe that.
And hold up. They did all that running around the woods to who knows where, how many miles they did, and they didn't run into a single other group of campers.
Yeah, okay, I don't know if they were the only ones camping and they were taking like a rotating cycle of camping, maybe, because they were their own group and then there were the other groups. And I don't know how big the woods are, but I feel like, actually no, base camp wouldn't have sent out people yet because it was a 3-day hike. Which also, who wants to go on a 3-day hike? You want to hike in the woods for 3 days? A lot of bugs and stuff. Zombies.
I just want to check my Snap stuff. I don't know, I don't use Snapchat.
I mean, the only thing with Snapchat is you have to keep streaks and stuff.
Those children lost their streaks. They couldn't even know that in their final moments, their streaks were okay. They had lost everything at that point, Ava.
That's when their friends knew something was wrong. I think
oh my god, I knew they were going to this camp.
I think something bad happened to Aniela. She lost her 373-day streak. And I think that's a problem. So I think something bad happened to her and we should go look.
Like, honestly, that's what they should have been monitoring. Not if the kids had their devices, but, like, if people started worrying about them.
Yeah, I mean, I think they would have definitely had a satellite phone or something to do check-ins with at least. And for emergencies. And there would have been rangers in that, because I assume it's a state park, or a country park. I don't know how it works in Poland. But I feel like they would have had some form of ranger. And I don't think that cop that was, you know, having personal time with a prostitute on the job was technically a ranger. Could be wrong.
Yeah, he was just a police dude that didn't know how to keep driving.
He was just chilling, and then, well, okay, I forgave him for stopping because he was like, oh, I think I ran over a person. But the fact that she was screaming in the car and he didn't leave, like, if there was a frightened child in my police car, and I was just going out to investigate a strange body, and this girl started screaming, no, don't touch him, come back, we need to go, no, I'd probably go back and see what was wrong before I investigated the weird body.
Yeah, and, like, he literally, like, nudges him with his foot, and he's like, you good, bro? And I'm like, well, you just hit him with your car. Can you not see the pimples and blood all over this dude? Like, just leave him.
He did get sliced in half, though, which I thought was kind of satisfying.
Yeah, I mean, I could have done without seeing, like, all of his, like, organs and bowels kind of just glooping down before the halves of his corpse sandwich fell to the ground, but yeah, whatever.
You're really not into gore, are you?
I mean, it's not my favorite, and I just, like, again, like, I don't know, I feel like there are better forms of storytelling, and, like, I feel like in this movie it just really wasn't done well.
Yeah, there are definitely better ways to make a horror movie than base it off of the gore. Like, there are definitely spookier things to do. But, I mean, so that's like the whole thing where you're thinking, like, about a slasher movie, or like a movie like Saw, for instance, like, the whole thing, like their entire fan base is a gore fan base, you know? Like, cause let's, like, there's not really people going to Saw for the incredible storytelling, you know? They're going for the blood and guts and the bleh, you know? But there are definitely horror movies that are really well done, that have, like, basically no gore. Like, I'm gonna talk about Babadook again. Like, that was a really good movie, but it was mostly a psychological thriller. And so there's stuff like that, so I feel like horror as a genre is very diverse. And I feel like there's something there for everybody, unless you just hate being scared.
And, like, I don't watch a lot of horror just because it's not my thing, but, like, I've seen horror movies that I didn't mind. Like, I saw A Quiet Place and I enjoyed that. And I've seen movies with gore in it, so it's not even just gore, it's just, you kind of just become desensitized to it in a movie like this, and when it doesn't really service the plot in any way, I just get tired of it, and I just get more critical of it when it's just like, I should either not be watching this movie, or I should just be enjoying the mindlessness of it.
Yeah, okay, I know that you probably wouldn't like this, but I just wish they leaned into the gore a little bit more for some of the characters, particularly the priest. Because, like, that's the most, like, or when she should have cut that guy's head off, you know? Or, like, when she ran over that guy, if he, like, exploded, that would be great. Because, like, that's when gore is satisfying. But sometimes it's a little excessive. I do agree there. But I think you have the right to be excessive when it's a bad guy.
Yeah, like, if you want to be excessive with your gore, I don't care. People like it. Just not my thing. That's not, like, one of the, like, large reasons why I disliked this movie, because I know that's more of a personal preference, but it didn't help.
I think that you need to watch more horror movies. and find one that you like, because now I'm intrigued. I want to know what kind of horror you like, because you don't usually watch horror. And so I think that's a thing that you should explore. That's more homework for you.
Okay, like, I did watch A Quiet Place, and I feel like there's one other horror movie on, like, the tip of my tongue that I can't remember it right now. But, like, I just prefer movies in general with more sustenance to them. So I feel like a slasher movie would not be my thing, just because it's a bunch of people making dumb decisions.
Okay. I know I mentioned Scream earlier, but Scream is good because it's very self-aware about itself, and that's a classic slasher if you wanted to watch one of those. But then
it's the Halloween heavyweight champion, Ava.
Yeah. And then there's a horror comedy kind of thing movie called Ready or Not that I really liked.
Oh, wait, is that the one that's like hide and seek or something?
I love that movie.
I wanted to watch that one,
it's
actually.
So good. You could watch that on Halloween. I love that movie. That was before I started reviewing movies, though. I should have reviewed it, but I didn't. If you've seen either of the It movies, those were good.
I want to watch those too. I read the book.
Yeah, I need to read the book. Well, anyways, I think that we're coming up on our time now. So, I think if any of you guys made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. We love you with all of our hearts.
Yes.
And it would mean a lot if you subscribed, or you liked this video, or you gave us a comment on video or on movies that you want us to talk about in the future. Or if you have ideas for other kinds of videos, since we're gonna start posting shorter videos that you actually see our faces in. Whether our faces are a positive or negative addition to this channel, I do not know. That is for you to decide.
Listen, our faces are lovely. So, you're gonna want to tune in. You get to hear Ava, like, dropping fire about some movies that she likes that I probably haven't seen. Or you get to hear me ranting out about books in ways that are nonsensical, because that's all I can contribute to this channel. But you're gonna want to see it. Like, peak content we have coming for you.
Yeah, it's a time. But anyways, guys, thank you so much. We love you all, and we'll see you next week. Farewell.
Bye.